Okay, so today, or this week I should say, we are starting about 3 mini projects. So this week we're going to be working on value scales, several different types of value scales, so there'll be different videos for the different ones. And this will be due on Friday by 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, so 6 p.m. Okay, so you're going to need a wooden pencil, not a mechanical pencil, a wooden pencil, a ruler, and either your sketchbook paper or non-lined paper. If you have lined paper, you need to get a sketchbook. You need to work on getting those. This is a good time to do it because they're all on sale for the holidays. Or if you just want to use copy paper, that's fine, but it just needs to be non-lined paper. So first, we're going to make our columns for the value scales. You're going to leave a little space on the edge. You're going to use the width, I'm turning my paper here, you're going to use the width of your paper, the width of the ruler to be the width of the columns, okay? So you don't even have to move your ruler right now. So I have one column there. I'm going to scoot it over just a little bit, not a lot, because if you leave a lot of space, you won't be able to get as many on the paper as you need. You're going to need 5 columns. So right now I have 2. Again, I'm going to space it just a little bit. I'm using the width of my ruler to make my columns. So I'm drawing my line on each side of the ruler. Got one here, one here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got one more I need to do. Space it a little bit away from the column before that, and I don't think that got on the paper. Then I've got this one. Okay, so I've got my 5 columns, okay? Now I'm going to divide each one of these columns into at least 9 spaces. You're going to leave a little bit of room at the bottom, so you can see I'm just leaving a little bit there. Again, I'm using the width of the ruler to be the size of my box. I'm not going all the way down, I'm kind of stopping in between each one because I've got my space there and that's not part of our project, and I'm going to erase this bottom line here in just a minute. So again, I'm not moving my ruler, and I'm not going all the way across the page. I am using that. You want to line it up here, and then I'm just going to draw on this side. Keep going here. I'm going to try to speed up so you don't have to watch me draw each line. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving break, and if you need me or have any questions about this week's assignment, feel free to email me, Canvas email me, or you can actually call me now on my classroom phone, and that number is 364-2954, and I'm hoping that I will have the ability to Zoom after tomorrow. So Zoom where you can actually see and hear me, not just me see you and I type answers, which is what I've been doing. So I'm finishing up here. You need to have at least 8 to 9, minimum of 8, maximum of 9. So any more than that, it's just going to get to be too much, and you don't want it. You don't want that many, because these are a lot to do over the course of the next few days. So, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're not going to worry about this little piece at the top because, again, I told you we were going to erase that. So you can come back and erase all of that because we want full columns here. If you draw light enough when you do this, then these lines will be easier to erase. Neatness is going to be graded as part of your assignment, so make sure that you are neat when you work. On this side, we're going to write value scales, because that's what we're doing. And we're going to put the number 1 out beside it, because we're going to be doing several of these. So when we did value on our art element sheet, it is light to dark. Now, light to dark could be the pressure in your hand, where you have more pressure and then you get lighter as you go to the top. That is one way to do value. And we will do that one, but we're going to do that one on another video, so don't do that today. Today we're going to be working with lines, and we're going to be doing different combinations of lines and value. So for the first one, I'm going to do straight lines. So I'm going to put straight lines down at the bottom here so I can label it. The second one, we're going to do contour lines. The third one is going to be cross-hatching. The fourth one is called scumbling, S-U-S-C-U-M-B-L-I-N-G. This last one on this page is going to be a combo of all of these before it. So the first one is straight lines. Now straight lines is, it doesn't necessarily tell you the direction of the line, but we're going to do a horizontal straight line. So on the first one, I'm going to turn my paper sideways so you can see it, and I'm going to do a straight line. I'm going to be using the same pressure I'm using right now with my pencil all the way up, but right now I'm going from each edge of the box to the other side. You're going to want to start off slow because it'll be kind of hard to go fast at first and go from side to side. Because remember, I am grading on neatness and I don't want you going outside the box and all that. So now this is going to be our darkest box at the bottom. So I'm going to put a D down here and I'm going to put an L at the very top for the lightest. So for darker, this is not dark enough. This is just where I began. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to add some more lines going all the way across. You're not using the side of your pencil, you're using the tip of your pencil. I'm using the same pressure, I'm just adding more lines. The more lines I add, the less white paper is showing through here, which is what we're wanting because we're doing the darkest value at the bottom of straight lines. So there's my first one. Then I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to add some more lines. Now it's got to be one step up from this one because remember it's going from the darkest value to the lightest value. So this should probably be more like here. So I have to add more lines here to make this the darker value. You can use a ruler if you're not comfortable making shorter lines. Now remember, whenever I told you when we were using color pencils that it's easier to make a color darker than it is to make it lighter. Now we are working with pencil here, but I don't want you to have to go back and erase. So if you start off light, you can always make this darker as you go up, but if you start off too dark, you have to erase and then you create a bigger mess. So if these are looking the same, I can come back here and make this darker. Can always do that. Now I don't want you going side to side because that's more like coloring. We're just using straight lines, so it's just one direction. Okay, it's from one edge to the other edge. Okay, if you get outside of these edges, the box edges, you'll need to go back and erase those because neatness is part of your grade. Now when you're down here, these dividing lines between each box will start to disappear, and that's okay. Okay, so now I'm moving on to the third one. I'm going to start out with my lighter just so I can come back and add more lines. Okay, now I'm going to go to the next one. Using the same pressure that I used down here. I'm not using any different. It may look a little bit different because my pencil is getting dull, and if you need to sharpen your pencil, then that's fine. But remember, you're using less and less lines as you go through the value scale. Okay, I probably need to come back here and add a few more lines. Same here. You can look at it as you go and tell if it's getting less lines or more lines. I'm going to go to the next box. Whoops, something's underneath my paper here. Okay, so I'm done with my straight lines. I'm going to erase these little tips on the end here that we drew that we don't need. So now you have your straight line from darkest to lightest. Now we're going to move on to contour lines. Now contour lines are the lines that follow the outside edge of a shape. So in this case, we're going to use a curved contour line. So it's going to go this way. I'm going to turn my paper again sideways. Now remember, when you're doing contour lines, the bottom one is the darkest, so you're going to add more lines using the same pressure all the way up. We're going to do the same that we did there. We're going to add more. Remember, we're going from edge to edge on the box. So if you're stopping shy, if you're going like this is not going to work. You're going to have to go all the way to the edge. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to add more. Now notice how I'm doing one direction movements. I'm not going back and forth, okay? That's going to start looking like you're drawing it, like you're trying to color it in, and we're not trying to color in. That's not the goal of this assignment. Again, we're getting lighter as we go up. Okay? And you're going to keep going up all the way till you get to the end. Okay? Now I want to show you what cross-hatching and scumbling is, and the combo, what to do on that. Now cross-hatching is two diagonal lines that cross one another. Okay? But it's not just making one big X. I'm going to put a lot of diagonal lines going one direction, and then I'm going to come back the other direction and do those lines. Now, when I get finished with this will not be the darkest value. So I will have to come back in and add more lines to make it darker. Because remember, in this case, darker means more of the white paper is covered. And you'll have to do that for each one. Now I'm trying to keep it within my line so that I keep my work nice and neat. And also, since you have a lot of graphite on your paper, the more you touch it, the more smudges are going to end up all over it. So if you need to get another piece of paper and put it over it as you move and work, that might be what you have to do to keep it from smudging. Now scumbling is a controlled scribble. You can scribble all over the page, but that's not controlled. Controlled, we need to control it within this box. So, again, we're not coloring, it's a controlled scribble. So you just have to be really careful, and this is your darkest value here that we're working on. So I'm gonna scribble until I have most of the white space covered up. I'm not trying to color it in. Remember, I'm doing a controlled scribble, which is a scumble, okay? And then you're going to get lighter as you go all the way up, just like we did in the first one. Now combo, remember I said at the very beginning of the video, is going to use straight lines, contour lines, cross-hatched lines, and scumbling lines. Now that doesn't mean you put those in a little section each one. They're on top of one another. So if I'm going to do straight line, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add some straight lines. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add some contoured lines. Now this is also controlling your hand. So remember, you're not trying to win a race. It's not about who can finish the fastest, the quickest, any of that. Because you need to make sure that you grasp value. because that's very important in art. Okay, so I've got my straight lines, my contour lines. Now I'm going to add my hatched lines. Okay, we'll come back in and go the other direction for my cross-hatch lines. Now, because I'm layering so many on top of one another, I don't have to put as much of the straight lines and all of that. I can just put one layer of each, and it's going to make that darker as you go. So I've got my crosshatch, and now I'm going to do my controlled scribble on top of this. And there I've got my combo. Now on the combo, you're going to do repeat those same 4 in each box, not a different one for each box. Repeat the same 4 that I just put here, just a little bit lighter. Just a little bit lighter as you go. This one is going to be the most challenging one because you're layering several things. So you're going to have to watch when you do this one. Again, you're doing straight lines, contour lines, cross-hatch lines, scumbling, and a combination of all 4 of those. Now remember, this is value scale sheet number 1, so I'm going to have another video that is value shape number 3 that I will probably either post later today or tomorrow. Again, this is due Friday at 6 p.m. This is a different time than I normally have you do it at midnight, so you need to make sure you work on this a little bit every day. Even if you just do one column every day, that's one column. That'll take you 10 to 15 minutes. It's not going to take you that long. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know.